some lightweights. Malik Wright, up all day and all night, pushing all the buttons up to something till it's alright. He looking at it from all sides and angles. Got a stripes on his body like he played for the Bengals. Oh man, there's no one discussing it. They came, they stayed, they either did it or done it. Man, I love it, cause all they ever do is win. So kick that, relax, the TWSN.
Thank you guys for tuning in to another Bengals recap game presented by the Right Way Sports Network. I'm your host, as always, Malik Wright, joined by my producer slash co-host slash business partner slash best friend Daniel Alameda on the ones and twos. And Daniel, we just left the stadium. The Bengals defeated the New York Football Giants in, let's just call it what it was, an ugly game. It wasn't the prettiest. The Bengals controlled majority of the game. Never felt like this was a game where they were truly in danger of losing. But you would have liked to really see them, I guess, end a little stronger, close out the game a little bit stronger. It feels like this is a game that they should have had in hand um, a lot sooner than what they did. But all in all, I personally, you saw me in the suite. I wasn't too thrilled with the mishaps that happened. This is a situation in which I feel like um the defense was a focal point today. We saw the defense do a lot of good things today, and the offense sort of went missing in action. But I also want to remind people that we kind of talked about this, and I said, hey, this defensive line of the New York Football Giants is not one where you can really sleep on. I felt like the Giants' defensive line was a very underrated part, and I felt like it was actually getting stronger as the process went. And this is a Giants team that was playing without the likes of Kayvon Thibodeau, but they still have guys like Aziz Ojulari, and they were able to do a lot of positive things today. Brian Burns was able to make life a little bit more difficult for Joe Burrow. But all in all, I personally would have really liked to see a cleaner game from the Bengals today. That didn't happen, but they did leave MetLife Stadium with the victory. And, that's sort of the thing that we can sort of hang our hat on. I would say that, whatever the Giants were doing, especially from a defensive front, stunts, blitzes up front, twist, getting guys more involved, especially on the blitz side of things, it worked. Joe Burrow on this offense seemed like they weren't able to find a rhythm. I still have some questions about the usage of personnel, especially not getting your tight ends involved a little bit more than what I believe they sort of should have. But all in all, I'm not going to complain too much. This game was it was a victory that they needed. It was a victory, a morale boost that they needed to happen. The Bengals are 2-4 right now, still an ugly record, but everything is sort of still in front of them. You can't get too high, can't get too low for this one. I'm not going to sit up here and just say the defense did great. Luan Arumo, he did show up. His defense did show up the way I expected him to, but I also want to put the quotations with it that this was a performance without a guy like Malik Neighbors in the lineup, and this is sort of like a bottom ranking Giants offense in totality. But all in all, the Bengals fans got to feel very, very comfortable with how today sort of played out. It was really good to see the usage of Jordan Battle much more often out there, and it seemed like they were able to do a lot of positives. Daniel, what were your thoughts overall on today's game before I jump in and I give you my take on some stuff?
Yeah, all around. I mean, first off, very, very proud of how, everything went with the suite, and we appreciate everybody tuning into the content. It was awesome, man. And just once again, a shout out to some of the fans that won the giveaway in the suite. Appreciate, and it was a very fun time with everybody. And when we discussed the game, Malik, I thought you did a very good job of analyzing it. It was an ugly win, and I think there's a huge difference. And this is one of my biggest takeaways. There was a huge difference when you look at the game on the field from the coach's standpoint, from the player standpoint, versus people on social media and people watching the game from a TV, right? Obviously, Sunday night football. Obviously, you want to see fireworks. It was a football game. It was an ugly football game. It was a grit and grind, dirty football game. And this wasn't what we were used to, right? We were used to the Bengals putting up 25, 28, 32, 35 points. That's not the game we got. But we got, honestly, it was a good football game. It was ugly, but all around from a football standpoint, it was a fun game to watch. There was a lot of back and forth. I think from the Bengals standpoint, my biggest and ugliest takeaway and the thing that they have to improve on, it really is at the end of the game. And that's what really did concern me. This game was not, obviously you look at the score as a low scoring game. This was not a 10-point game, in my opinion. This was a 3-point game. This game was a one possession game. And that's what concerns me, right? the biggest, discussion heading into this game was, hey, how do you save the season? You save the season with the win, respectfully. That's how you save the season. You push it everything along one more week. But does this mean the offensive issues are gone? No. Does this mean the defensive issues are gone? No. And once again, when I look at this team, what concerned me was at the end of the game, when you had a chance to nail down the game, you went and you ran it 2 straight times. And it wasn't just the fact that you ran it, you got negative yards. And that's what irritated me, because you had to have a quarterback, your best quarterback, a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. You needed a superstar level play. And that's what he did. That 3rd and 13, when he rolled out to the left, he saved the game there. And I think, honestly, that's the story of the Bengals right now. It is, hey, your superstar quarterback is keeping you afloat. You need your superstar to have these superstar like plays. And that's what concerns me, right? You go look at the offense, and I'm going to keep pointing back to that. It was at the end of the game, and it's like, damn, it's 3rd down. If Joe Burrow wouldn't have converted that, we could be talking about a completely different story right now. So this offense still has a long way to go, and especially when you look at the usage of this guys like a Jamar Chase. Respectfully, the one big play that he had, Malik, it was a broken play that Jamar and Joe Burrow connected onto the left side. That was the fact that Joe Burrow and Jamar are so connected. That is exactly why that play happened. It wasn't a design. It wasn't the fact that, he was the first option. No. And that's what concerns me. Jamar Chase, multiple times, is that something else that's pretty cool about when you get to see the game, in person. You get to see the stuff on the sideline. Malik, I saw multiple times. It was at the end of the half when it was that 3rd down, and Jamar Chase, I believe Joe Burrow got sacked, and Jamar Chase walked up to Zach Taylor. And obviously, I don't know what they said, but Jamar Chase was visibly frustrated, whether he wanted the ball, whether he didn't like the play call, something was upset.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what concerned me, because it seemed like, Malik, the players weren't necessarily, it was a grit and grind game, and this game was not in hand at any point. So all around, they got to win, and you push everything along one more week. But
Yeah.
it was definitely an ugly win. But hey, you got to win. Your season is not over.
Yeah. I think that's the biggest thing I want to kind of talk about is, like, this is life in the NFL. No win is going to come easy. No team is going to just be a team that's going to lay over and die. The same way you're going out there putting on the pads and looking for a victory is the same way the team that you're playing across from you is looking to do the exact same thing. Doesn't matter what is the logo on their jersey. So the New York Giants were at home. They had a lot of stuff riding for them. They were a lot of people riding high on how this Giants football team has looked recently, and they started to feel like this Giants team was coming into form. So I feel like the Bengals kind of weathered the storm a little bit, and what they weathered the storm a little bit and what everything they were dealing with. But I'm really, really proud of how the resiliency. I think resiliency is the big word that we need to talk about here. And I think resiliency is the word of the day when it comes to this Bengals football team. As Joe Burrow said, this win was ugly. It was ugly. But sometimes you need to win ugly in order to, really grind it out. You're not going to always get those 30 plus performances. As much as we can talk about the offense, how the offense didn't look the part today. And there were certainly some contributing factors, especially if you're looking at the running game, that fumble by Zach Moss, right? Those are things that just can't happen. It's not what you expect to happen. But for the last 3 weeks, the offense put up 30 plus points. And we've been talking about that. We've been praising them a lot into it. And it's one of those things where I felt like maybe a lot of people went into this game under not showing enough respect to this Giants defensive line and how they can make life a little bit more difficult for this Bengals offense than what we probably gave it credit. So all the credit in the world to to the Giants defensive line and what they've done. I just personally would like to see going forward. If I saw somebody ask, and we can get Michael Roth's question back up on the screen or comment back up on the screen if you want to read that too. But people were asking me what were some areas of concern I can have for this Bengals team moving forward. Definitely the running game, and kind of just getting into a rhythm. I never felt like the offense was able to get into a rhythm today. And that's something that you sort of want to see going forward. But I do want to shout out some players that I saw make some splash plays today. People like T. Higgins. T. Higgins showed up in a big way for this Bengals team. Even Yoshi Vosh. Yoshi Vosh showed up in a big way for this team when his number was called. Joe Burrow made a big time throw when his number was called. Wasn't the prettiest, wasn't the sexiest, but they were able to get the job done. Danny, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. Malik, I think there were a couple more things I really want to discuss. And I'm going to start with the negative and the stuff that needs to improve moving forward. Malik, there were a lot of plays on defense that the Bengals got bailed out. Darius Slayton down the right sideline, deep pass, call back, holding. Or it was on the left side, broke it up field for 55 yards, holding. A couple times, Jalen Hyatt, cross or deep cross, left side, beat his defender wide open. Daniel Jones barely missed him due to the pressure. There was a lot of plays like that when you look at the defense. And yes, the defense bailed out the offense. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, hey, as much as and as good as the Bengals defense played, um, the Giants just missed some plays, and this wasn't an elite offense that you had to play. So that's definitely moving forward. The Bengals do have, some things to definitely work on. I would like to see the pass rush. It really was a Trey Hendrickson or sending 5, 6, 7 guys in the blitz. I thought Mike Hilton did great as always, in his role as being a blitzer.
Mhm.
I'm unimpressed, and I think that's my takeaway is,
Mhm.
hey, listen, I'm very unimpressed with this
Mhm.
performance. It's a win, though,
But
and
you
it
see,
keeps your season alive.
there's a good comment in there by Mike Rolfe that I want to get to. So every
Which one?
Chiefs win this year has been ugly as fuck. The
Yes.
fact is, wins are wins, and 100%. No one goes back and they look at the intricate details of a team's record, if you will. Like when the Pittsburgh Steelers rattled off a bunch of games a couple years back. We didn't go back and we didn't look at, okay, how many yards did the quarterback throw for? How many receiving yards did said player have? We looked at the overall record. Sometimes you have to get those gritty wins, those gutty wins. We're just so used to the Bengals winning in such a nice way,
Mhm.
right? We're so used to watching this team win in such a beautiful way to where it's like beautiful football to watch. We're not used to seeing this team who has Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, the list goes on at the receiving corps. We're not used to seeing them play when ugly like this. But we saw them do it today. And I can almost go back and remind you actually, we actually are accustomed to seeing them win ugly.
Yes.
When they went on that Super Bowl run that year with Joe Burrow at the helm, it was a lot of ugly wins in there. It was a lot of ugly games in there. Right. It's particularly one game I could look to in particular was the Raiders game back when they beat the Raiders in Las Vegas. That game was ugly, but they found a way to win. They had to run the ball, be under I formation, and run the ball consistently. So this Bengals team, we know they have it in them to gritty out some victories. No pun intended there. We know that they have some grit in them. We know that they have the ability to uh, you know, really outlast an opposing team. It's just that we haven't seen that brand of football for the Bengals in quite some time. So I think it sort of caught us all by a loop a little bit when number one, you find yourself in a dogfight against the New York Football Giants, a team that you feel like you're better than, a team that you feel like you should steamroll, a team that's playing without their best wide receiver and their best pass rusher possibly, and Kayvon Thibodeau, and you go out there and you struggle. You
Yeah.
only put up 17 points on this team, but here's the biggest thing: you won by 2 possessions.
Yes.
You won by 2 possessions. It doesn't matter how it looked. You got the job done. But continue, Daniel. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good. And I think that's what it really is going to come down to is, hey, you just got to get these wins. And that's what this next stretch of games is. And that's really was the discussion before this game. Hey, no matter how you get this done,
Mhm.
that's what we said. Just get the win. So all around, and just to discuss real quick a little more,
Yeah.
the Giants, they did very good. And I think that's what it was. The Giants, it's not like the Bengals weren't, Joe Burrow wasn't looking downfield. Maybe there was one time on the left sideline with T. Higgins had a one-on-one. Maybe we could have said Joe Burrow, could have threw the 50-50 ball. The Giants did a very good job. Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence. And you saw in the touchdown right away, what was the reason why Joe Burrow had that open lane? It's because the Giants were playing damn good defense. They played that too high shell. They rushed a couple, but they were covering everybody. And at some point, this is what the Bengals do very well, and this is what Joe Burrow does very well, is, hey, take what the defense gives them. So all around, the Bengals offense still has a lot more to show, but you look at this game, and Malik, once again, we got to shout out our offensive line. The Bengals offensive line played very good. There were a couple miscues, but all around, there were many times where Joe Burrow had 4, 5, 6 seconds to throw.
Yeah.
And when I'm projecting this upcoming run against a dominant defensive line like the Browns, against another opposing matchup with the Ravens, it's up to the offensive line. And if the offensive line can perform how they've been performing, like, I'm confident this team can win 3 of the next 4 games, can sweep the next 4 games. And that's what we have to discuss, because you got 5 games until the bye week. This season ain't over.
Mhm.
And I'm looking at the positives right now. Joe Burrow's playing like a damn elite quarterback, and you're still in it.
Well, I will just say this. I mean, desperation is definitely set in. You need to find a way to rattle off some victories here. There is no rest for the wicked, right? You have the Cleveland Browns next, and the Cleveland Browns have been an Achilles, heel in your side, so to speak. The operation should be not to be the Browns get right game. Browns have had a slew of losses recently, and they're looking to bounce back. and they've got the Bengals coming into town here soon. The Bengals need to find a way to get this victory. The Bengals need to find a way to beat the Cleveland Browns. The Bengals need to find a way to not get in their own way. And I think this Bengals team can do that. But again, it takes them believing in themselves. It takes them playing together as a cohesive unit and understanding that not every game is going to be pretty. Not every game is Joe Burrow going to pass for 400 yards, 4 touchdown passes and play a perfect game. Sometimes you're going to have those muddy, ugly looking games, and you got to find a way to win those. The great teams find a win those one score possession games. And that I think that's this type of style brand of football, Bengals football, that we need to see this team continue to evolve into right here. But it's a pivotal matchup next week. It's their second divisional game in as many as 3 weeks. And so like they need to find a way to win this game. I would almost go as far as to say they need to go out there and make a statement, but I won't even say that. I will say you need to go out there and find a way to win. Great teams find a way to win against all odds, no matter what people are saying, no matter what people think. The Bengals need to find a way to beat this Cleveland Browns team, a team that has sort of had their number the last couple of years. But I think this Bengals team has a lot of things positive things that are still in front of them. I just think they just can't get in their own way.
You discussed getting in their own way. I think that's the issue. And once again, I hate to harp on this. Joe Burrow, 1 interception so far this year, 2 interceptions.
Mhm.
He has been doing an amazing job, even this
Mhm.
game, not putting the ball in harm's way. The issue today was your running backs, Chase Brown, once again, at the end of the game. If that fumble would have, went the other way, we could be talking about a different game. It's ball security. It's not beating yourself. And that's what it's going to come down to, Malik. I think that's what the season comes down to. I'm willing, and I think a lot of the Bengals fans, uh, they're in a position, Bengals fans and the Bengals in general, of living and dying by your quarterback. And at the end of the day, he's not the reason why you're losing these games. And I think that that's something that Bengal fans can hang their hats on. And that's something that this season you can look in and say, hey, we've got a shot as long as 9 is back there right now. And that's one of my takeaways from this game is, man, he played a damn good turnover-free football game.
Mhm.
And when you project into the rest of the season, you can't beat yourself. Defense made a couple big plays, forcing Daniel Jones into pressure and then got the interception. That was a huge play at the beginning. And then, quite frankly, Giants missed 2 kicks, and one of those kicks was a huge momentum swing. You went down and I believe scored on the other end. And it was a gritty game. It was a grimy game. When we're looking at the rest of the schedule, though, if you go out there and you go to Cleveland, you win that game, once again, it's going to be a long road back. This is not going to be easy. You're going to have to do something historic. Starting off 1-4 is not uh, an easy road. It is the Bengals would be making history if they made the playoffs. But there are some positives to take away, and at the end of the day, you're not out of this. Do we want to get some of these questions real quick?
Yeah, let's answer a few before we head out of here.
Beautiful. We had Misfit K85 asked Malik, how did you think the defensive line played? And I can also add on to this too.
I thought the defensive line did a lot of good things, but I also feel like there was a lot of missed opportunities as well. Again, I think it's a unit that's is getting stronger. I would like to see more Miles Murphy out there today. I feel like we didn't see enough of him out there as much as I would have wanted to, but I thought the defensive line did some good things. I saw McKinley Jackson struggle where he got blown off the ball at one point, but I also saw him make a big play on that same exact drive. So I thought the defensive line did a lot of good things, and I think it's going to be one of those units that it's going to be up and down um, majority of the season. You just hope that they find some rhythm um, here sooner rather than later.
I agree. And one last thing to add to it, we saw Trey Hendrickson. Obviously, he is a very passionate player. He was definitely frustrated at the end of the game, and I think whether it was he wasn't getting the holding calls, he had one hell of a game. Let me just say that. And I hate to say it again, but this dude is clearly a top 5 edge rusher in the NFL. So shout out to Trey. He is absolutely dominating, and hopefully the Bengals can. I like when they blitz a lot because that's showed it did well last week, and you got to find a way to get pressure. We have a question from Shino Bemonte. He said the Bengals offense still looks one-dimensional. Can you predict, or it's too easy to predict what they're going to do? Do you agree that the Bengals offense is one-dimensional, Malik?
I thought today was a little bit one-dimensional, but I also think that's a credit to them facing a very good defensive line that a lot of people aren't giving enough credit to. There's a reason why they had to be a little more one-dimensional. It's because of what the Giants' defensive line is able to do, be able to make life run havoc on the pass rusher, and also able to stop the run. Dexter Lawrence is one of the best interior defensive linemen in football, and I think we we should give him a little more respect than what we do give him. I think there was a reasons as to why the Bengals weren't able to put up 30 plus points today. They were still able to win the game by two scores, but it really was because of the Giants' defensive line that made life a little bit more difficult for this Bengals team, that made them look a little bit more one-dimensional. Now, next week that can change, right? Next week the Bengals go out there and run on the Cleveland Browns, but I really expect Cleveland Browns to do a lot of good things as well against the Bengals team. It's going to be a dogfight next week, and no pun intended there with them going against the Cleveland Browns in the dog pound. But I expect this Bengals team to understand what they're in for.
We got 2 questions real quick from Sasquatch Sports. Was asking about Jermaine Burton. Said, what is going on with Burton? Do the coaches just not trust him or something? Having him as a healthy and active instead of Trent Irwin was nasty.
I'll just say there's some growing pains there for Jermaine Burton. Some things he's got to just do better. And you're hopeful that he can sort of put all those stuff together for himself at some point in time. But I just think that at this point, this coaching staff is playing people that they trust, people that they believe in, and people that they know are going to go in and do their responsibilities, when called upon. So you got to just take the good with the bad and realize he's a rookie at the end of the day. And as talented as he is, and you want him to go out there and be able to perform in year one. Not everybody's going to have an ascension like a Jamar Chase, like a T. Higgins, where they show up rookie year and they're just putting up numbers. You got to earn the trust. Sometimes you got to, you got to really be consistent with everything that you do. And I think the biggest thing is, when Zach Taylor talked about this culture that he's building, you built this culture with the hopes that you can add and make additions to this team for people like a Jermaine Burton, or people that, are young, that are still learning the playbook, that are still learning their way of how to be a professional in the National Football League. I think that's what's going to go a long way for a guy like Jermaine Burton. But I would just say the expectations for Jermaine Burton in year one are what they are right now, and I think he'll earn more respect with the coaching staff over time. It might not even be in year one, maybe be in year two, but you're really hoping to see more positives from him.
So we've got one more question. Once again, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you guys just like this video, subscribe for more content. We appreciate all the support on the road and at home in the TWSN studios. Jim Gagner said, Malik, I would love your thoughts on 4 players from tonight. And I've got some thoughts on these guys. Yoshi Voss, Jordan Battle, Tyson Anderson, and Charlie Jones.
I think Charlie Jones he gives you everything you're looking for in a punt returner. You're looking for a guy that is able to pretty much go out there and be sure-handed when it comes to the punts in his hand, outside of that costly mistake he made earlier this season. But I would like to see him make better decisions when it comes to his run lanes, if you will, as a returner, and be more, I would say, more decisive with things instead of dragging it out sort of towards the pretty much dragging it out to the opposing side of the field, if you will, and then deciding to go out of bounds, or sort of just knowing when to just call a play dead and realize not everything is going to be a home run, if you will. In terms of, Jordan Battle, I thought we saw a lot of positives tonight. It was good to see him get more snaps in there. I'm not quite sure. It seemed at one point he got replaced over Von Bell. And I think that's sort of some of the stuff that we've been talking about for quite some time, and we want some things we wanted to see. Yoshi Voss has shown me everything that I've wanted to see from him this season. Last week, I talked about seeing the ability to stretch the field a little bit more. We got to see that last week in spots. I like to see him continue to develop as a downfield threat versus just a red zone guy, or just a third down guy. I'd like to see him develop more on that. But all in all, I like what I've seen. I've liked what I've seen from a guy like Andre Yoshi Voss. And who was the other one?
Tyson Anderson.
I
got to go back and re-see.
Yeah, I got to go back and check that out. I don't want to give you guys some BS, but some stuff I just got to go back and see what it is that you guys may have saw tonight.
But yeah, you want to get to one more?
Let's get to one more before we get out of here.
All right. So we had a question we go to Parker Blake's question. He was asking about a couple of people.
What's up, man?
We appreciate everybody tuning in. He said, how do you feel about the young guys? Brown, Mims, Battle, Cam Taylor, Brett Turner. So I guess talk about Mims and Cam Taylor, Brett Turner.
I thought there was some ups and downs with DJ Turner. A little too handsy at points and times, but I think you got to just trust your technique, trust your instincts. And, I thought he did some positives today too as well, though. So it's like the prototypical cornerback game. That's not truly an elite corner, right? You're going to have ups and downs. You're going to have ups and flows. You got to be taken on the chin. Who else was he asking about?
Marius Mims and then Brown, like Chase Brown.
I thought today was a little bit of a rough for the offensive line as a whole.
Okay.
I think that Mims will continue to grow. In terms of Jordan Battle, I thought Jordan Battle showed a lot of positives today. It was good to see that. In terms of Chase Brown has to learn how. I mean, I think Chase Brown did some positives, but I think he's got to just hold some. I think he's got to learn how to hold on the ball a little bit more. So to decrease those fumbles, because that was a concern of him even coming out of college. But with a guy like Chase Brown, who you're expecting to get more of the workload, especially with Zach Moss being so up and down, we need to see. We just need to see more from him.
Mm-hmm. No, I would agree. And just to add on to that real quick, I think it was just definitely offensive line. Yeah, going back and rewatching a little bit and looking at this, Mims didn't have the greatest game, but not too concerned about it. But
yeah, I thought it was some ups and downs, some positives, but I think all in all all in all I thought that the offensive line, they did as well as they could have gone up against a team such as such as the Giants defensive line. That's good.
Mhm.
It's so crazy on that last shot. You look so you couldn't even
I know
really
that's
see it.
what I
That
was
pretty
like.
insane.
Yeah, I don't.
That was pretty insane. Anyway, we want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of the Sit Down Malik Wright recap show for the Bengals game. I'll be back live again Tuesday morning as I'll be breaking down all things Bengals as well as this past week's action in the NFL. I'll be live with my guy Parker Blake on Tuesday, so make sure you guys tune in. Be headed back to Cincinnati tomorrow. Really excited about it. It's really, really awesome being out there. Appreciate Michael Rolfe's comment. Appreciate all y'all supporting. Appreciate everybody's comments, thoughts, and everybody being pretty pumped up for the game. And we appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode of the Sit Down Recap Show with Malik Wright. Somebody asked why is Daniel so dark? Well, this is what happens. This is life on the road when we don't have all of our setup equipment with us, so we don't really um we don't always have all the lighting that we have in our prototypical studio. This is us working out of a suite right now. So we appreciate y'all for tuning in. We appreciate y'all for showing us support. We hope that you guys enjoyed the game. Until next time, as always, though, who dat?
So kick that